Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Parenting Lab. If you've ever had struggles with getting your kids to talk to you, doesn't matter how old they are, and you're wanting to know an easy way to get them talking, this is the episode for you. Because I'm going to offer an answer that might actually surprise you. Because it's not sitting down for a big family dinner, it's not asking the right questions in the car, and it's not even about giving them screen-free time. Even though all of those things are great and you should definitely keep doing them, the real secret, the real pro tip that I'm going to offer you today is to tuck them in. That's right. It might not be what you expected, but today we're talking about the art and science and power of bedtime. Not just as a way to get your kids to sleep, but as one of the simplest, most consistent, and most powerful ways to build connection. So today I'm going to share the science behind why bedtime routines matter. I'm going to give you 5 specific benefits that you and your kids get from those last minutes of the day. Then we're going to talk about some of the challenges that we face when we're trying to incorporate this, because I know that bedtime isn't always easy. And finally, I'm going to offer some practical solutions on how to make this work in your family, no matter what season of parenting you're in. Okay, so let's get to it. Why is bedtime such a big deal? First, consistency in routines is huge for our kids. Neuroscience tells us that predictable routines help regulate the brain, build healthy sleep patterns, and even support our cognitive function. So when a child knows what's coming next, their nervous system relaxes. It's like the brain saying, I know what to expect, I am safe, and I can rest. So if your child tends to resist bedtime, one really practical way that you can support their nervous system, which is really what we're trying to do, is through sensory cues. Now, this can be as simple as dimming the lights at the same time each night, playing the same soft song, or switching on the same lamp. These repeatable signals become little nudges for their brain, and the brain learns to say, oh, okay, I know this feeling. It's time to start winding down. And the second thing is that bedtime is a natural transition point. The whole day has been filled with noise and activity and responsibilities and stimulation, but nighttime is different. It's a built-in pause. And transitions are really opportunities to reset, to connect, to say, no matter what happened today, I'm here with you. So there's a theory in child development that says that the most important moments with your kids are at 3 times of the day. The first 3 minutes right when they wake up, the first 3 minutes right when they get home from school or daycare or their other activities, and then the last 3 minutes before they go to bed. So if we're following that 9 minutes a day theory, the bedtime transition is the last chance in the day to reconnect. And if you don't carve out connection at these transition points, it's really, really easy for it to slip away. Kids end the day very unsettled. Parents end the day very rushed. And if the relationship doesn't get that moment of grounding that it needs, then that's a missed opportunity. But bedtime doesn't have to be complicated. It does have to be intentional, however. So let's walk through the 5 benefits of tucking in. And I'm going to tell you these come not only from research, which I've done, but also from my own lived experience as a mom, okay? So the first one, consistency in the bedtime routine supports the brain. Just like we've talked about every night, as you dim the lights and smooth the blankets and sing the songs and simply say goodnight, you're building these neurological patterns of safety. And safety equals sleep. Good sleep improves mood and focus and memory and overall well-being. So you're not just tucking them in, you're literally helping their brains grow. Okay, so the second benefit, it's one-on-one attention. Our kids spend all day sharing us with work and chores and siblings and everything that's on our to-do lists. But when you sit on their bed, you're telling them, this moment is just for you. And kids really do thrive on that kind of one-on-one attention. Now, you might be wondering, what do I even say during that time? And the key is to just keep it light and simple. A quick, what was your favorite part of the day? Or was there anything hard about today? Or what are you looking forward to tomorrow? Opens doors without making it feel like an interrogation. Okay, so even just one thoughtful question can spark the connection that you're looking for. The third benefit, it shows them that they matter more than the clock. I know we all need sleep. Parents need sleep. Kids need sleep. But sometimes those few extra minutes of connection matter more than a rigid schedule. So think back to that 3-minute rule that I mentioned before. Even if you're completely exhausted, commit to just 3 minutes of connection. That's long enough for your child to feel your presence, but short enough that it doesn't really derail your whole night. And if you have multiple kids, you can always rotate long tuck-in nights. So maybe one child gets the longer story tonight and the other gets the deeper talk, or maybe one gets it tomorrow. And that way everybody gets their turn. So the fourth benefit is that it opens up communication channels. Now, this is a big one because kids often wait until bedtime to bring up the big stuff, right? Maybe because it's dark, maybe because they're slowing down, maybe because they sense that you're finally still and ready to pay attention. Whatever their reason is, it's often at night that they whisper, "Hey, Mom, do you have a minute?" And in that moment, doors open that may have been locked all during the day. So one trick that I use here is what I call the doorway pause. So instead of immediately leaving after you've tucked them in, just hang out at the door. Just pause for like 10 seconds at the door. So often that's when they suddenly say, "Oh, hey." And then you get to hear the real thing that they were holding back before. For teenagers especially, or those who might be awake later than you can still show up, even just with a sticky note on their pillow or even a little text at bedtime that says, "Good night, love you, I'm here if you want to talk." So even if they don't take you up on it, it's still communicating that you're available to them if they are needing to talk to you. And the fifth benefit is that it invites you into their personal space. This is one of my very favorite benefits. For little ones, tucking in usually means snuggles and kisses, right? It's that really tender bedtime where they just want to be in your arms and they want to hold you. But for older kids, it might look more like scratching their back or just adjusting their blankets or just sitting nearby while they're settling down. Lots of times with my kids, I would just sit on the floor while they're going about their routine just so that they know that I'm there. But if you're thinking, my teenager would never go for that, here's the truth. Even if they roll their eyes, most kids still really do crave that presence. They want their autonomy, but they still need to know that you're there. So you don't have to press in. Just sit on the edge of the bed, ask one lighthearted question, or share something from your day, because sometimes sharing your life first is what opens them up to wanting to share about theirs. Now, let's be honest. Bedtime can be messy, and there are some real barriers that make this difficult. So let's move through these challenges and see if we can troubleshoot some ways that we can get through them, okay? Challenge number 1, mismatched energy, right? I feel this one big time. Young kids often have the most energy right before bedtime. Meanwhile, their parents are done. We're tired, we're touched out, and we're ready for some peace and quiet. So one solution is to build in a short active wiggle time before bedtime. Just like a 2-minute dance party, some stretches, a silly pillow fight, something to let them burn off that extra energy and then ease them into calm. For older kids, the opposite is often true. They come home from the party or the dance and they're wired, while your eyes are just fighting to stay open. You can decide how much energy you have and are willing to share in this situation. But for me, I try to at least get out of bed and meet them in neutral territory. I head to the family room or the kitchen so that I'm at least standing upright. Then I'll ask if they mind some company while they get ready for bed. I lean on the wall for a minute while they brush their teeth or wash their face, and then give them a hug and say goodnight. I don't necessarily stay up until they're ready to sleep, just long enough to give them the opportunity to tell me how their night went, and then listen for any clues that stand out. Trust me, there is nothing that revives your energy quicker as a mom than hearing something that tingles those parenting instincts, right? She said, "What? Wait, okay, what happened? Tell me again." Then you might find that mismatched energy actually becomes yours. You're ready to dissect the whole day, and they're rolling their eyes at you, okay? All right, so challenge number 2, we have different schedules. Now, this can happen at any age, especially when work schedules keep you away at bedtime. But at any age, you can still work those 3 minutes of connection into your routine. Maybe it's just before you leave for work, or a little routine when you get home that shows them that you were there, even if they're sleeping. So when my kids were little, I had to work the evening shift a lot, and they would always leave a little light on when they went to sleep, so that when I got home, I would go into their rooms, kiss their little sleeping faces, and turn that little light off. And that was my signal to them that I'd been in, I'd checked in on them, even if they didn't remember that I was there. They could wake up and know that I had checked on them. Now, with teenagers, you might be ready for bed before they are. Instead of waiting until they fall asleep, just do the connection before you go to bed. Pop into their room, say goodnight, ask that quick question, and then head to bed yourself. That still counts as connection. All right, challenge number 3, you're starting from scratch. If you've never had a bedtime routine, it can feel really awkward. You might wonder if your kids will think it's weird. For little ones, you can frame it like, hey, I thought we could try something new before bed. Do you want to read together or tell me about your favorite part of the day today? Now, for older kids or teenagers, honesty is what's going to work for you here. Hey, I realize that I don't always slow down with you at night. Is it okay if I come and sit with you for a few minutes? The simple act of sharing your intention is often the only thing you need to start something new and help them buy into your effort. Okay? Challenge number 4, you have multiple kids. If you're wondering how to give everyone one-on-one time, remember, it doesn't have to be equal every night. You can stagger tuck-ins or rotate which child gets a longer tuck-in that night. Even 2 minutes of presence, 1 minute of presence for each child is better than none. Challenge number 5, you have a blended family, or maybe your kids are sleeping in different houses. When kids are part of 2 households, routines can feel inconsistent, but connection doesn't have to look the same in every house. Create a ritual that travels, or one that's just special for you at home when they're at your house. Maybe it's a phrase you always say, or a bedtime prayer, or a funny handshake. Those little moments become their constant. Challenge number 6, you're getting resistance. Older kids sometimes say they don't need you, but often they are still craving that presence. They just want it to look less babyish. So follow their lead in this situation. Maybe it's not a hug or a song anymore. Maybe it's just sitting in the room for a few minutes, but even that still matters. And challenge number 7 is your own parental capacity. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe you work late. Maybe your partner takes care of bedtime most of the time, and that's real and that's okay. Tucking in doesn't have to be long or elaborate. Even a simple, hey, love you, I'm proud of you, sleep well, while pulling the covers up or giving a really good hug communicates everything they need to know. At the end of the day, tucking your kids in isn't about the blankets or the stuffies. It's not even about the sleep. It's about saying, I'm here and I see you and I have time for you. It's about presence, and presence is the foundation of attachment. So I want to share a personal reflection here because there are so many routines that I'm not great at. I don't really cook dinner, and our house is usually only clean when we're having people over. But tucking my kids in, that is one thing I've always held on to because those last few minutes of the day in the quiet of their rooms are so healing for them and for me. Now, when they were little, it was songs and cuddles, but now that they're older, it's talking and laughing and sometimes confiding about really big things. Both of us do that. I can't tell you how many times I've lingered for just that few extra moments, and that is when the floodgates open. I want to share with you some of my favorite questions to ask. Now, I don't ask these every night, but when I can tell my kids are holding back. So they're simple. Some are actually going to require a little bit more time. Some are a little more vulnerable because it allows them to give me some feedback that might be hard to hear. But they're all worth it if you are wanting your kids to open up. So here are a few of my favorite questions. How are you, really? What are you worrying about? Do you need help making any lists for tomorrow so that your head is clear? I have a few minutes. Can I help you pick anything up or get anything ready for tomorrow? What are you looking forward to tomorrow or next week or in 5 years? Is there anything I'm missing or not noticing about your life? How is so-and-so doing? I haven't heard you talk about her for a while. Is there anything I can help you with? Is there something you wish you could have done differently today? Or is there something you wish I could have done differently today? So those are just a few things that I ask. And honestly, at this phase of parenting that I'm in, it's not always at their bedside. My son lives in Bolivia, and I only get to talk to him once a week. But when he comes home and is living here while he's going to school, I will still take time to tuck him in. And my daughter is 18 and feeling very grown up and independent, but I always connect with her before I go to sleep. She's always telling me, just go to sleep, don't wait up. But I want to be her last conversation of the day. I want my I love you to be the last words that she hears before she checks out for the day. Because here's the truth. I won't always be the one they want at the end of the day, and I won't always get to sit by their bedside, and I won't even live in the same house for much longer. But tonight, I do, and that makes it worth everything. So let's bring it back to you now. If bedtime at your house has been rushed or chaotic or skipped, I want to encourage you, it is not too late to start. So here's my challenge. For the next 7 nights, until we have our next episode and conversation together, spend at least a few minutes at bedtime with each of your children. No phone, No distractions, just you and them and one good question, one hug, or simply listen for just 1 minute longer than you normally would. And then notice, how does your child respond? How do you feel? And what is shifting in the atmosphere of your home? Now remember, it's not about the length of time. It's about consistency. It's about presence. It's about communicating to your child, you matter, I'm here. So that when they do whisper, hey mom, or hey dad, do you have a minute? Your answer can be always, yes, I do have a minute. I have all the time in the world. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are loving these weekly conversations, please take a moment and follow the Parenting Lab podcast wherever you're listening. And I'd love to hear your tuck-in stories. So find me on Instagram or leave a comment on this episode. And as a bonus for this episode, you can download my free bedtime connection guide at the link in the show notes or find it on my website at theparentinglab.org. I will see you again next week, where we will continue to explore the art and science of parenting and put your parenting to the test. Take care, everyone.